They got a sign right there that say no trespassing. But Mary got a song that say, this land is your land, this land is my land. This land was made for you and me. On one side, it was blank. That side was made for you and me. They said Lincoln Beach was built for black people. For is possession word. They say I'm a social construct, call me a black person. So this is for me. This is for us. So welcome to Lincoln Beach.
When people think about New Orleans East, Lincoln Beach is rarely the topic of conversation. Acres of beachfront property obscured by a levee wall, making it mostly inaccessible to the public. We see it all over our city where recreational spaces transform into landfills, making our communities unsafe, unsustainable, and unprepared.
And also new at 10, a group of New Orleans residents have taken matters into their own hands in cleaning a beach that has been closed for about 60 years. Their reason? To preserve history.
This is where you start crossing your fears, you know. Cross that, you start feeling a spiritual awakening. The railroad right here by Norfolk Southern, this is another dissection of our community. Look at all the barriers and layers and boundaries we have to get to just to get to heaven on earth.
When I came here and I saw this space and saw that it was considered trespassing, that in itself didn't make sense to me. So I think I decided early on that I wanted to be a part of this project and making sure that people had access to this space, because everybody who I encountered here, you know, they're in awe. You know, people would just come and they found it therapeutic, you know, just working on a section of the beach and doing a small task. Or really it's a huge task, but we knocked it out a little bit at a time.
It's crazy, man. I think when we first started, it started with this palm tree. Sage started cutting weeds from around this palm tree. And look what we got now. All this clear land for people to enjoy. We built a park next to a beach with hand tools. 2 men just chopping away.
But since we advocated as a group, that black community in New Orleans East is now getting $28 million of restoration. I think the politicians seeing that true commitment and boots on the ground inspired them to help us, because they get 1,001 complaints daily. But there's rarely a time when people trying to resolve their own problem with their own resources, even though we're not supposed to. Our taxes are supposed to work for us. But the politicians can't answer every prayer.
People want politicians or celebrities to save the world, but all of the major movements that have happened in this country and have happened in this world, 99% of them have started with grassroots. I want to build upon what people like Bliss, Sage, Reg, and many of the other people had done. I don't think they wanted it to be a political football, a conversation piece, or just an idea. They want it to be a reality. Anything sustainable, and in most cases, anything possible and doable, has to start with people.
Pioneers of the Lincoln Beach Restoration Project protested the long history of divestment in their communities. And in their commitment to Lincoln Beach, they demonstrate the power of community-driven action. Through their collective efforts, they are not just maintaining a beach, they are cultivating a lasting legacy of environmental stewardship.
What we see from our second floor looking out at this beautiful lake, and then what we looking at right in our front yard with the trash and the overgrown grass, it just didn't match up. This don't go. This ain't supposed to be like that. So we began to start advocating, trying to find out Who's responsible for keeping the grass cut on the levee? Who's responsible for picking up the trash? And we found out and we started attending meetings, and we got things moving to get a regular scheduled lawn care and trash and litter pickup on Hain Boulevard. We as a community as a whole, we deserve to have those things that promote quality of life.
Our goal is to empower the people. We're lighting torches. You know, we're sharing information. We're going to advocate. We're going to work together until we see change. And then when we see the change, we're going to maintain it.
Boots on the ground is the action. I could get on social media. I could complain. I could whine. I could talk about all the problems, but what am I doing about it? At the end of the day, it's what are you going to do about it?
So Lincoln Beach is the first line of coastal defense for our community right there. So these trees and this shoreline slows down storm surge, it slows down wind shear. So whenever you walk from this shoreline to the shelter in the forest, there's an immediate decrease in wind velocity. That water that's beating up on the shoreline is stopped right here, and it doesn't flood that community. This is a natural barrier, a natural border that reduces flooding in that community right there. So one, it makes it sustainable. It allows us to live with water even better. Because water is rising, it will happen. The ground is sinking, it will happen. We have taken control and not allowed us to live with water where naturally created New Orleans, made from flooding and the overspilling of the water banks and sediment deposits. We stopped all that. So now we got to return to some of that. And one thing what I tell everybody when they come here, you got to touch the water. You got to go to the water. You got to reconnect. You got to cleanse yourself spiritually. And you'll feel it. It's not that hard. But you got to let go of all the other things and get connected to this spiritual water right here. We don't experience this much. This place right here is just something special.
So my goal has always been to, how do we all come together? How do we peacefully come together? But what do we really want, and how do we achieve that?
Some people had mixed feelings about us coming out here cleaning up. I'm bewildered as people have mixed feelings as you coming to clean up a land. That's strange to be like, what's the thought process? Leave it dirty? It's so important that I would say that part of the movement was to say, let's do this together, every walk in hand, and we did that. We set an example, and we showed people how we came together during the period of COVID, where there was a lot of despair and a lot of lack of hope for what was going to happen next. So that was the first thing, bringing people hope so you could work together. Second, we engaged with civic leadership to make sure there was a Lincoln Beach Community Advisory Committee that to make sure the community be represented on every aspect throughout the process. During a time when Black lives were being lost around the country, being killed by police and police types, and Omar Arbery was the last one. I said, what can I do for my community? There's this place called Lincoln Beach that I knew when I was real young, and I said, you know what? My protest is gonna be a great protest, a good protest. Come to the land, restore the land for which I see it could be today for my elders, for my community that's suffering, and for myself, because we all need something to inspire us. And what you see now is the results of investment, not just from me, but many, many community members who put their hands in this land, who didn't have opportunity to come on in, who have invested in this land in many ways. So it's a connection and a spirit connection all the way around. So that's Lincoln Beach.
This grassroots movement is a testament to their enduring experience ensuring that Lincoln Beach remains a place of coastal sustainability and a sanctuary for generations to come.